Watch your people. I hope you're all well out there. Class is in session, everyone. It's not just entertainment tonight, all right? This is a serious fucking class we're putting on here. This is something we've never done before. I hope that's why you're all here, because we're going to do some unlearning tonight. So look, how is everyone, first and foremost? Is everyone all right? Everyone good? Are you lying? Just a little bit. Fuck me, that Schumann resonance is something, innit? Hey? What's going on with that? It feels like it's been a bit of a fly-by night of a week this week. Bit of a crazy fucking week. Has anyone else felt that? The energies feel very, very, very strong, very, very high. Yeah. Just another week though, isn't it? It just seems like that's the kind of chaotic fucking cosmic circus that we've inhabited. So do you know what, right? One of the things, just to get us into it, right? I feel personally that once upon a time, when I first started to discover and explore and inquire about what was going on in the world, and I wanted to know everything, and I wanted to know who was to blame and who was accountable and what corruption this was and what scandal that was and who they were working for and who caused this war and who caused 9/11 and who done this and who done that. And now, like, I zoom out with all this knowledge and I realise it's just the same fucking players all over every single time, isn't it? So what else do I need to know? All right. And of course, like, maybe what you believe is the players out there pulling the strings and the reins of mankind might be one thing. My opinion might be another. But what I'm saying is that I feel like we've probably all got to a place where we're aware that there is a small group of beings that control the resources of our earth. And so, how much more do we need to know? Like, we're all on the same page, right? Like, anyone we see in the public arena, anyone we see propelled into the pantomime of politics, we all know that they're controlled opposition, right? They're selected just to divide, to distract, to take us further away from the truth. And what is the truth? That's not a fucking rhetorical question, people. Feel free to answer. We're the truth, aren't we? You know? Fundamentally, we're the truth. And people might be like, well, that's a bit fucking abstract, isn't it, for a Sunday evening? Like, what do you mean, man? What do we do with that, Danny? What I mean is that, like, we're like, all those saviours out there that we've been told, all these stories, all these different books that we've been told is the word of God, all of that stuff, it's all about looking for a saviour outside of ourselves, isn't it? And so is celebrity and politics. It's like someone's going to come along and they're going to do a better job of leading my life than I can. And I often believe the reason they've done that is because then that within that psychological operation there, we've been disempowered again, because straight away we're going, well, we can't do it. Little old me, what can I do about it all? And to me, that's like, it's the biggest fucking illusion that we've ever fell for. Like, the biggest. Beyond anything else, that is the biggest. Because every time you look through any part of our modern day societies, and even before that, every little piece of it is about reminding us to look outside of ourselves for governance, for validation, for affirmation, for knowledge. Can't do it. You need someone else. You need some help with that. And now it's been compounded to the point where we've like human beings are literally walking around just going like, well, what can we do about it? You know, like look at the state of the world. What can we do about it? And they're rubbing their hands together in their little caves, in their little bunkers underground, with their lizard fucking tongues. They're rubbing their hands together, or their flappers, whatever lizards have. Because we've become complicit in our own demise, haven't we? To a certain degree. Because imagine like, what is the energetic transmission of that? If you're walking around saying, what can I do about it? You know, like, I ain't got no power. What is that you're putting out there? That's fucking madness. And what about if we flip that coin and we transmute that feeling? What about then? We say like that, right, I'm going to change the fucking world. Imagine if we all done that. Then personally, my belief is that this entire shit show is over like that. It's finished. And so we look at every single way that, like, just look at all of our experiences have probably got a lot of similarity, right? We're born through our births most of the time. Maybe some people on here are different tonight. But most of the time, there is a massive, massive handover of power during the birthing process, especially if it's done in hospitals. We go into schools and we spend the entire time being told what to think. Most of us having the creativity and unique expression bashed out of us or detained out of us. They had a special little room in my school for kids like me. It was called Room 50. And it got to the point when I was about 13 and a half, 14, and I used to walk into a class and just go, Bedford out, Room 50. And I was like, I hadn't even fucking said anything, you know? It just, off I went down to the little room and sat with all the other delinquents. And we were sitting there plotting on what we're going to do today then. And then we go into our jobs, right? And the jobs are very much like school, is that by doing as we're told, by delivering what we're being asked to deliver, we excel, don't we? Like the trajectory of status, I would say personally, from my experience and what I've seen in the world, that is a lot of the time for people who are very good at saying, yes, I'll do that. Don't worry. Yeah, I've got it. And so I feel like a lot of the time we go through our lives never really realising that we've never been able to really physicalise our own vibration, our own rich connection to source, all of that real beautiful, potent, divine energy has been sent off out there. And now I feel like a lot of us are coming round, remembering, rediscovering that power. And now we've got that power, and now we switched off all of the noise and the drama and the sensationalism. We're just, you know what? I don't really want to know. I'm not even fucking interested what Donald Trump's got to say today. You know? How many more fucking press conferences of do we need to fucking hear? You know? He's not in charge of my life. I'm sure you feel the same as me. So then, we're now in this place and we've got like, whoa, fucking hell, I can feel all this power now. Fucking hell, this is a bit lively, isn't it? Jesus Christ, what am I going to do with all this? Because the rabbit holes are not serving us anymore. The old habits are not serving us anymore. The old programs and pattern behaviour and that old voice in our heads saying you can't. That's the real C word. Can't. It's all expired, isn't it? It's redundant. So now we find ourselves in a place of like, what can we do with all this stuff then? All right? What can we do? Well, for me, it's just about, I want to inform myself as best I can. And look, this is one of the things, right? And I get a lot of backlash from this on social media. I'm not sure you lucky fuckers have probably evolved away from social media, but some of us are still fucking deep in the trenches, mate. You know, I'm deep in no man's land every day. With me bayonet, getting told off for me swearing, told off for my hair, told off because I've got a beard, told off because no one can understand me and I talk too fast. No wonder I carry on, isn't it? Really? But one of the things that people say to me, like, if you come out and you say, like, do you know what? Wow, this is such a positive time. People go, oh, you're in denial, mate. You're in denial. And if you come out and say, do you know what? The whole fucking world's rigged and scammed. Everyone goes, cool, that's a bit doom and gloom. And you're like, you can have both things can be playing out at once. And I see myself as evidence of that, right? And I'm sure a lot of people would concur with that. Ew, concur, Danny. That's a very nice word. Concur. We had a fucking courtroom drama then, weren't we? It was like Law and Order for a minute. I was in Law and Order once. How about that? I played a policeman in Law and Order. I'll show you the clip one night on here. All right? So I'm telling you, I was in it. And being able for me, right, to be able to experience both and to know that, listen, right, you look at our world, yeah, no one's an ostrich in this room. No one's got their head up their arse. You know, we're not sitting here pretending that the world's, oh, yeah, it's amazing. Wow, what a wonderful world. It's all perfect. It's not like that. We can see the world for what it is. It's in a massive, massive, grave transition. There is more suffering going on in the world right now than I think I've ever experienced and ever seen. More homelessness, more addiction, more people are lost, more mental health issues, vaccine damages, fucking propaganda, corruption. I mean, it's like, it's all coming to the surface, like it has to. It's got to come out. It's like, it's bubbling. It's a volcano ready to go bang. But while that's all happening, there is like beauty. So much beauty going on and so many empowered people that have now taken charge of their reality. And the knock-on effect that is having on mankind is something that it cannot be mistaken. And I think we can all see that, right? Like when you look over there and you're like, whoa, mate, that's heavy. And you look over there and go, wow, that's fucking amazing. How inspiring. So these two things can be playing out at once, right? It's just, for me, it's about where do we put our focus and attention? I think it would be ignorant. I think it would be a little bit silly, to be honest, to not have one eye over there on what's going on, right? Because that keeps us subtly informed without being like swallowed and fucking saturated and drowning in the hysteria. Because the hysteria and the drama, it doesn't serve us, right? And again, like if you are paying attention to what's going on in the world and you go like, oh mate, this is too much for me, then there's things you can do, right? You can go and sit in silence. You can go and sit next to a tree. Like I've got a little bird right up here above my office, yeah? And I'm telling you, he sings to me. He's trying to heal me. Whenever I'm pissed off and I come, the kids were with me today, right? I was having a bit of a bad day today. I am, all right? The kids, and we all sat down, had a cup of tea outside my little office in the sun. And all of a sudden, this bird just kicked off and he's going for it. Like proper. He's a genius, the fella. Honestly, he can really, really play. And he's there and he's giving it some. And we were just all stood there for a good few minutes, just looking at him, just singing his heart out. Nature's there for us, you know. It's really, really, really there for us at this time. And we all need it more than we realise. So if all this is getting too much, right, if you're on your device and you're like, fuck, and you're like, whoa, it's just, oh, man. Or you've got people around you and you still find yourself in, you know, those old repetitive toxic relationships that are still difficult to come out of. We've all got them. Do you know what I mean? We're all going through it. We're all going through the same shit. It's just about understanding we've got a lot of tools available to us. And one of them is nature. One of them sitting down in silence and just breathing and just feeling that I am completely and utterly a multi-dimensional being that is connected to source, to God. And then once we do that, a lot of the stuff that we've been worried about, it kind of loses its heaviness, doesn't it? It loses its weight over us. And then we can come back again. Come back again for another round. And so, putting that to one side for a minute, right? Like, I feel like a lot of that has lost it's really lost its value for me, right? Trying to work out the world out there. Instead of what I want to do is I want to put all of that focus and attention in here. And of course, that's like a very, very wide-ranging spectrum of the pillars of like health and wealth and our earth, our connections, our relationships. There's loads of things that we can do that they're all investing in the highest version of ourselves. And that's what we're trying to do, right? That's what we're doing by offering these spaces, so we can help people keep their positivity, we can inform people, we can support people. And more than anything, empower people. Because empowered people, they're beyond the distraction. They're above the division. They're not falling for no mask mandates. So, one of the things is, right, there's probably many people on this call who are a lot more experienced and have more knowledge in this subject than I do. However, I've got a basic understanding that through our birth certificate, through our birth registration, we are given a straw man, a fictional character that we believe is us. All right, but it's not. And that fictional character is then used in the system, in the matrix, to enslave us in one way or another, for want of a better phrase, is to enslave us. So there are people out there, many people, you know, there's been loads of people over the years that I've watched through different sort of angles that are coming at, and I'm sure everyone here is familiar with their own people who've helped them gain some knowledge in this subject. But my own experience, I don't think I've ever come across someone like Alexander George Middleditch. We're just going to call him Alex from now on, because that George Middleditch bit is like round the ragged rock, the ragged rascal ran for me. So he's just Alex, or Big Al, because he's a big fella. Alex has been, he's been down deep into the workings of the straw man creation and how to create for us status correction to be able to take control of that fictional entity and to then almost create some kind of barrier between the fictional side, which the state interfaces with, and what is us, the living, breathing man or woman. So, look, I'm going to be honest with you, right? I'm just going to be fucking really bluntly honest with you. This ain't for the faint-hearted, yeah? I've already done quite a few of the modules of Alexander's. I said Alexander again, didn't I? Look at me, Alexander, darling. I've already done a few of his modules, and it's heavy. It's really, really heavy, heady stuff. And I feel one of the things is that a lot of the time, many of us, like myself, I left school at 14. So, that sort of having to study, having to discipline myself, to put myself in that frame of mind of like being a student again and learning again at 40 odd years of age. I mean, that can be quite confronting. It can be quite, do you know what? I don't think I can do this. But again, like I said previously at the beginning of this call, that's just conditioning again, isn't it? That's just a program. Why can't we do it? I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be fucking difficult. There's going to be points where you're going to want to pull your hair out, I'm sure. But if you're willing, I believe this is the answer to a lot of our fears in our modern society. I believe this is the answer. Now, is there any people who are familiar with Oracle Girl, Jacqueline Hobbs, on the call? Yeah. So Jacqueline's the one who introduced me to Alex. when I was having a conversation with her once and I was talking about my son's birth certificate because he was born in our little yurt and there was just me and Hannah. It's a complicated situation, right? And so when I asked her advice about it, and she just said, this is the best thing you can do. Go and speak to Alex. And then I went, looked at Alex's stuff, had a chat with Alex, and then I went on to his course. And I'll tell you what as well, not happy about this, Alex, if you're watching this. Cost me £2,000, that course. Do you know how much it is now? 50 quid. 50 fucking quid. Fucking hell, Alex. But he's still, you know, like in his wording of how much you pay for the course, he's still saying it's worth 2,000. I mean, it's worth more than that. I mean, everything's relative, isn't it, right? So depending on people's financial situations, you know, if you are financially comfortable, then to me it's worth that £2,000 I spent on it. I'm like, never thought of it ever since. I'm just like, wow, this is something that once I apply myself to this and I get all of the paperwork that I need, I can then apply all of this stuff into all of those little facets of the modern world that really fucking irritate me. So let's take like digital ID, for example, or biometrics at airports and things like that. Yeah, and that's a big one for everyone, isn't it? Like, because one of the things is I love travelling. I want to come home and have a bit of pie and mash. You know, I want some fish and chips. I want to see me mum and me dad. But like the thought of going back now and jumping through those biometric hoops, it really does not sit well with me. And I know that once you have created your status correction, once you've sent off the correct paperwork, the correct documents, you're then able to use all of these mandates, legislation, acts, whatever else it is, international law. You can use that against the bastards who are trying to enslave us. So I truly believe this is a way for us to add another string to our bow when it comes to the feelings of freedom. Freedom! They may take our lives. And so, like I said to you, it's not for the faint-hearted. I think there's something like 17, 18, there may be even more now. It might be even 20-odd modules. But like the way that Alex is designed the course is, I mean, there is so much detail. Every single part of it, your hand is held through every single step. That's not to say it's going to blow your head off. Like, it's blown my head off so many times. Like, just like the Latin. I'm like, oh man, please. Fucking hated Latin in school. So Alex, bless him, he's created a little video for us, right? And it's basically a introductionary presentation for us, especially, right? For this call. So if you've got pens and papers and stuff ready, it's going to take, he said, I asked him for 10, 15 minutes, right? And he even says 10, 15 minutes at the beginning, but it goes on for 20 minutes, right? 22 minutes or something like that. But I think all of it is worthy of like the introduction. I think it's all worth listening to. So if you've got pens and papers, you can see as well, like I have consistently this week, I've been sharing the link to Alex's website. But if you go into the chat as well, I put it in the beginning as well, so you can click on that and you can see what it's all about as well. And listen, do you know what as well? Just as a disclaimer, right? I'm not getting fuck all for this, right? I haven't got a special code that you put in and you get money, like I get a kickback or anything like that. I'm doing this because I believe this is one of the ways that we create true liberty in our existence. I believe that. I also believe that I'm another way. You know, I feel like when you put stuff like this together, like I'm going to be someone who's going to consistently and continually empower you. Yeah, it was not actually me, really. I'm just saying stuff that's already in you, and it's reflecting, it's resonating, and then it brings it up. But this other stuff is equally important. So, dig in. Is everyone comfortable? Yes? All right then. I'm going to press play and we'll let Alex talk. I've done a sound test, by the way, with my other half at the beginning of this, and she says she can see the video. Everyone can see my screen, yeah? Everyone can see my screen. Just in case as well, yeah, if anything does happen, like we are recording this as well, right? So you can watch this back on, it'll be up on YouTube probably within a week or so. But I'll let you all know anyway. All right, I'm going to shut up now and we'll put Alex on.
Hello folks, and welcome to this video presentation I'm going to put together that should last no longer than 10-15 minutes to briefly highlight some of the technologies and wisdom that I've come into in relation to sovereignty in law, especially with the legal tricks and traps that are going on. Obviously, we all know the problem. Danny's done a great job in highlighting the problem economically and politically, that we can, as individuals, step into reclaiming our own power when applying these technologies and taking back that power, when governing our own vessel, our own estate, our own energy, and protecting our rights and freedoms, that I've certainly done over the last 6 or 7 years, that I've otherwise applied, and it has been very empowering for me. And I've got a lot of good results, which I can prove with first-hand knowledge of, paper trails when dealing with debt discharge, bailment, enforcement, court summons, and then going one step further in order to, really start claiming back a your title for private conveyances, for instance, with my vehicle. You even start doing that with maybe, deed of title on your home, protecting your sweat equity with your bank accounts, and anything and everything that's basically running through your birth certificate strawman name, which is this enslave juristic person, as a token piece in the Monopoly board game. So you have a lot more protection and you're kind of more of a power piece in this commercial system and game board that we're in, that they've dragged us into, right, as a result of what's happening with their technologies in order to subdue and control and use consciousness down here on this planet. Okay, so my name is Alexander George Middleditch. I have a website that kind of pulls all this together in education in order to empower the people with the concept of sovereignty and, wealth, law, health, and spirituality. I have a lot of really good free resources as well that people can peruse in their own time. So anyone who is interested to learn more can head over there and dive deeper into my presentations. I obviously go a lot more in depth with me doing, for instance, the forensics on our birth certificates, which I'll just touch on briefly. Basically means every country on the planet, right? Every government is a debtor. They're in debt. Easy way to prove this: hop on National Debt Calculator for any country that you're in. You'll see they're in debt. Then you can ask the question, who do they owe that debt to? You'll find that it's the central banks. They're the creditors. So you have a debtor-creditor relationship. We all know the borrower is always servant to the lender. And if a debtor defaults, they're basically under control of the creditor, who can come in and demand their pound of flesh. Okay, and that has been done pretty much in every country and every government who is on the planet operating the same system, because they're all singing off the same hymn sheet, which all goes back to the Vatican with Unidroit, who own the copyright to the UTC, that every member state who's on there is basically paying the rights to access that copyright. Okay, that the creditors have long since restructured the government under a maritime amity penal code system, okay, which is bankruptcy. And in bankruptcy, it's an international law where in bankruptcy, everything has to be bonded, licensed, and insured. Okay, and so this birth certificate that we're given off the back of our parents being registering us to the state, we effectively have become a stillborn who died without a will, which means intestate, imbued with a criminal charge, and made security or collateral for all the debt. Okay, so in order to set up this kind of debt peonage system, they're very smart, these guys. The creditors, the international bank cabal, knew that they had to indebt the governments. The governments were then tasked to take on the registrations and control and administer the estates of all the so-called dead and lost at sea, Sedicavia Act 1666. Individuals who obviously come into this planet are blank slated. We're programmed by the system. Sausage factory will go through their indoctrination camps and come out with debt, service that debt, get told what to think, not how to think. You know the picture, right? That's why you're here in the first place listening to this presentation. You've worked it out. And so all of the collateral and security is basically the citizens. whatever you register to the state, you give title and rights away. Whoever has legal title to the thing, they can dictate the use of the possession, okay, so the actual product, right? And so if you identify with your birth certificate, you're basically falling under their jurisdiction. So their acts, codes, corporate charter, as it were, to the bankrupt corporate factory floor, okay? And so all of the collateral, which is the citizens, we produce all of the products and services in the economy, which is the GDP, and we get an income to help to produce all that GDP. Every step of the way, whether it's a product or service and or our sweat equity, is taxed. Okay, so the main revenue arm for the government, in order to help keep them somewhat solvent and liquid to service all of the debt owed to the central bank creditors, they must raise taxes. Okay, so taxes is basically just rent, which is paid to the international creditors who issue loans to the government on an account at zero balance. Okay, so it's the biggest Ponzi scheme, as obviously I go into more depth that you guys can find out more of, that has drawn us into basically population control techniques. Okay, that's all this is about, is to go back to what David Miller called Babylonian slave driving techniques. Okay, and so this birth certificate is the crux. It is the cross and the crucifixion that happens whenever we think we identify with that, because that is otherwise the token piece in the Monopoly board game that then removes us from the natural law, God-given unalienable rights to become surety and agent for a dead fictional bastard who's imbued with a criminal charge, declared a stillborn, and is made collateral for all the debt. Okay, so when you say jump, you say how high. You're now liable to pay all of that perpetual debt that just keeps going up and up and up and up. And they raise the debt ceiling, and it's just made on account at zero balance. So it's the biggest Ponzi scheme ever. Okay, so it's much better to take control of that entity through certain technologies in order to protect everything that is registered with that entity and the sweat equity that comes through those accounts with the bank. Okay, so we all know birth certificate, we then use that to identify ourselves to open up a bank account, and every step of the way with everything that's issued to us, passports, driver's license, you name it, with the government, we're basically identifying ourselves as this dead bastard entity that has been pledged as collateral for the debt. Okay, and so with what I found with these technologies, it does work, and we can position ourselves in a very powerful position as an international creditor, acting honorably and intelligently in order to not only protect our freedoms and rights and renegotiate our terms and conditions as to how we wish to be treated, but also protect all of our sweat equity and come into like foreign tax exempt status and things like this. Okay, so that's the concept. Every government on the planet is operating in bankruptcy. It's maritime admiralty law disguised as statutory jurisdiction that's being administered in the courts. We forego our rights when we step up and say that we are this dead entity. Straw man, whether it's on your driver's license, letters you'll see that's given to you as presentments in the post, with anything and everything involved within this commercial game, you're being dragged into maritime admiralty law, which is like a form of martial law or penal code, because they're kind of operating under emergency, right? Under the emergency acts, because they've got all this debt to pay off, and they're like, it's getting more and more, and so we need to put in more stringent controls in order to squeeze as much as we can out of the produce, right? The collateral, which is us, where they see us as chattel. Okay, so whatever you register with the government, regis is the root word for crown. So the root word of registration is regis, which means the king, the crown. You're giving title and rights away to. Okay, they say possession is 9/10 of the law. What's the other 10th? Title. Whoever holds legal title, which are the international creditors, can dictate how all that produce or the collateral is used. Okay, and for that use, you have to pay rent, which is basically what we pay in taxes. So people think they own their home. It's a deed of title. It's not. It's a colorable title. People think they own anything like their vehicle they register. I think it's the V5C in the United Kingdom. Here in Australia, it's exactly the same. We don't. We have a colorable title, and for that using of that vehicle, we must abide by the codes of the shipping lanes, which are obviously the roads, right? And you've got the port codes, the postcodes are port codes. Every address is a foreign vessel on dry dock. So we're having to perform under a very strictly managed martial law system of a state, okay, which is a bankrupt nation state. They're just a bankrupt corporation, all right? They're basically operating for the corporation and not for the people. Okay, so much better to take back control, set up your own court of office, which is basically what I teach over at the course, learn the knowledge of the post-road mechanics to retain title and rights to the most important documents that you want to register yourself, which effectively puts you in a position of Postmaster General, which allows you to administer your own estate, keep your own records, because the power of any court relies solely on your ability to hold records. And from there, you are pretty much good to go. And you can go and have a little bit of fun with these guys. And it's just a matter of learning how to communicate your new standing effectively and giving notice of everything you do as a sovereign being who's taking back control with the use of the pen, right? The pen is far mightier than the sword, as another honorable power piece in this commercial setup. All right. So my website, like I said before, there's plenty of free resources and more presentations that you guys can go through. I just want to quickly show you the inside look of the course and all the modules, where I go through the introduction, post-road mechanics, how to retain title and rights yourself, the language fraud. Obviously, language is a huge one. It goes into the definitions of the words, which basically removes them being able to leave everything open to interpretations and bring everything under assumption and presumption, which is obviously not a good situation to be in when dealing with these folks. So always good to define the language, always speaking in plain, simple English. Seals, shields, emblems, and crests. Create your own shield of your sovereign nation state, your court of office. That's going to now be your new venue for your straw man. I advise people to use digital mailbox addresses, which I feel is very good. It kind of offers that separation of where you are in your care of address. Bills of Exchange Act, how to write your letters, status correction, introduction, how to discharge debts, fines and taxes, insurance, pass bonds, passports, a strawman account, certificate of the identity, diplomatic IDs and immunity, Seligavi trust, go into that a little bit more in depth, the Uniform Commercial Code, so this is secretly being administered in every court but disguised as statutory jurisdiction. It's the international code book for this maritime amnesty system that is being operated under this bankruptcy internationally. And we have the business registration, banking, money and investments, and asset protection and estate planning with trusts, trust law especially, setting up a ministry as well, which might be another vehicle that you guys might want to consider. 1099 process, which is this concept of tax recoupments that I haven't been able to crack. But like I said, for those individuals who want to kind of glean more wisdom and see the kind of information that's out there, can go away and apply it. And maybe if they do crack the code, they want to know in the group and help the community. Advanced Treasury Pack redemption process. We've got the unclaimed monies, Treasury banking and securities, and then putting it all together. Okay, so it's pretty comprehensive. It will require a lot of energy, time, focus, and study, but it'll be very rewarding. Okay, all I will say is that this course is certainly not for the faint-hearted. You will be tested every step of the way. So you must be a self-starter, you must be self-motivated, you must use your own initiative, and you must see things through to the end. When you commit yourself, see things through to the end, exhaust all possible avenues of you being able to garner and find the information and answers yourself. If not, we have a huge platform of support over on our Telegram group, okay, with all our members and the subtopics that kind of briefly mimic and highlight all the different modules here that people can then discuss, ask questions, help each other out. There are questions beneath each video as well that I answer as well. And also emails in regards to if people are really in a tricky situation and they've exhausted all possible other avenues to try and find the answer and they can't, then the last resort is me, where I can obviously come and help out, which you can either message me through Telegram or via email. Okay, so just to show you quickly firsthand some of the technologies I implemented really early on back in 2020, where I issued my own surety bonds off the back of reading Mary Elizabeth Croft's PDF, How I Clobbered Every Cash Confiscatory Agency Known to Man, I think it was called. That's what introduced me to this whole legal tricks and traps, sovereignty and law subject, off the back of watching Santos Bonacci's presentation, which I think was titled How the Vatican Owns Your Soul, going into the papal bull edicts and the Sedi KB trusts that connected into that, the Triregnum, Triple Crown of Baal and all this. So I issued this bond, and just to give you a brief proof as to the system we're operating in. Due to the very fact that securities have now replaced substance as collateral for debt, due to the bankruptcy of the United Kingdom corporations, the IMF, including subsidiaries and government, in their private corporate capacity, and that there is no money in circulation of any value in which to pay, only debt, and all debt is created on paper, therefore all debt can be discharged and issued on paper. I exercise my right and unlimited exemption to use this negotiable instrument to ensure that this is meant to represent my kind of living born identity, Alex Middleditch, secured party to all capital means this, the corporate version of myself, the birth certificate, the straw man, ens legis, juristic person, Alex Middleditch, and any and all personal vehicles owned by myself, living self, involved in any incident is hereby covered by this bond to the value of £1 million sterling. You agree that a copy of the bond is proof of insurance unless explicitly stated otherwise. Silence is acquiescence. Okay, and so this is very rudimentary, right? It's very wet behind the ears at this stage, made plenty of mistakes, but it just goes to show that if you can prove that you sent something in, stipulating your terms and conditions, and getting that agreement under silent acquiescent admission, then you can lock in performance and reliance on this to cover yourself in case you're in an accident. Okay, so I did this, then on the record, phoned up my private insurance firm, cancelled it, and I was driving around for a few months, just wanted to try this technology out, see if it worked. Obviously, I was flagged on the ANPR system, the automatic number plate recognition system. Copper pulled me over. In short, I was basically explaining that I do have insurance and I've got a copy of what I sent in my glove box, and so he can do anything there and then on the spot. Otherwise, he would have impounded my car and issued me a fine on the spot. Because I had that paperwork, he couldn't touch me. He issued the horch, you can see here, to go into the police station in the next 2 weeks in order to basically, explain the situation, try and validate that I do have insurance. So I did, and I was trying to explain to them. A lot of it went over the top of their heads, but I walked away from the police station scot-free. And then 2 weeks later, they just kind of obviously press enter, responded, wanted to send forth the fine and the fee, points on my license, with this conditional offer of fixed penalty, as you can see here. And so obviously, through applying the conditional acceptance, which is one of the technologies I teach with how you write your letters and how you respond with these folks honourably, and obviously fill them in as to, well, no, stop and correct you guys. You're falling under the assumption and presumption that I don't have insurance. I do. Here's the proof, sent to Grant Shapps with the, CCing in the actual letter and the bond that was sent with proof of posting too, which is very important. And then I got this letter back basically saying, with reference to your previous communication regarding the above offence, the offence is being reviewed and I write to confirm that the fixed penalty noted above has been cancelled. Okay, so it does work. And this obviously revealed to me the use of the bonds. Bonds are very powerful. And that, this was true, due to the very fact that securities are now placed substance as collateral for debt due to the bankruptcy of the United Kingdom Corporation. This applies to the United States, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, any member state that's part of UNIDROIT in the Vatican. Let's just bring this up, I'll show you, is operating under the same system. Okay, so when people say, does this work in New Zealand, does this work in Europe, does this work in Canada? Yes, it can all be transferable and translated into that common tongue of that nation state, which is operating under the same Admiralty Maritime law system in bankruptcy. Okay, and so as I go through, this is very advanced. Obviously, I've refined the technologies over the years to get to a point where now this is the best of the situation we're in, even representing the names properly, coming in with just our given names, that was what was given to us, right? And then separating the unholy trinity, which is the straw man, the given name, which is the living son or daughter, and the surname, which is actually the crown, in this colourable law system. And then on the back of the birth certificate, we put in the bonds if you have the space. If not, you don't have to. It's no big deal, but this is something I've done and perfected. And these are the kind of things that I am now achieving, and that I'm obviously teaching my members, and then these members are doing also, and perfecting that security on the PPSR, which is the Personal Property Security Registry. Here in Australia, New Zealand and Canada, they have that. If not, if you're in the UK or Europe and they don't have their own domestic securities register, we use the UCC, okay, which is still international. Even though it's domiciled in America, it's still a public notice platform that still appeases securities law, perfecting these securities. So we not only perfect it, but we control it. Again, it's all about taking back control of this entity, giving it insurance, right, and securing it through the security agreement. Okay, because off the back of us obviously identifying the birth certificate, we effectively become unsecured and uninsured, and we're open to plunder. All right, and so obviously I touched on all of this inside the course. I've got the presentation video. This is just one of the bonds that obviously show you the kind of level of the technologies you have to have in play. The security agreement is the most powerful document. I have all the templates inside the course, which is basically putting a lien against the straw man and the crown surname. And we're coming in as a living born identity, which is just our given name, to differentiate the different parties. Some people even change their living name just to give it more clarity with this differentiation. And obviously, controlling all of this, all of our estate with the UCC and the PPSR. Here's the PPSR. And then we could do such things as claiming a local title for private conveyance, as you can see here, notifying the ANPR division. I've been driving around now with my private vehicle, which I'll just show you guys, these private plates in here, as you can see, AGM 888, all the Queensland. I'm located in Australia now, so I started applying all this technology in the UK, and I've done this in the UK and it worked. Moved over to Australia in 2024, done exactly the same paperwork, just changed a few things to appease a few laws here, but it's all pretty much international, it's all pretty much uniform and doing exactly the same, so it's easily transferable depending on where you are. It's just, like I said, when you sit down and do the work and go through these documents, it kind of speaks for itself. And this is the kind of stuff you do, claiming a allodial title, again, taking back control of the title, which is dictating the rights and use and jurisdiction of how that possession or that whatever that product is can be used, right? So I'm bringing it back onto the dry land, absent from the seas, under my own terms and conditions, and it's all insured with the indemnity bond that we set up with the Treasury. Okay, and then off the back of that, you can do your diplomatic status as well with the generic declaration, which I did before all this kind of more advanced stuff, which actually allowed me to travel to America as a diplomat. So I didn't have to be vaccinated during, I think it was 2022, when they still had those restrictions in place. So again, that's very powerful. And also your foreign tax exempt status. Okay, so you can use, once you've got your estate set up with your security agreement, your indemnity bond, your set-off bond, you can then put together all of these extra claimants, claiming a allodial title to private conveyance, even try it on your house. You can even obviously then do your tax exempt foreign status too, which is a big one, in order to protect all of the so-called income, the fiat currency that's coming into your bank accounts. So you don't need to worry really about setting up a trust, which you still can do, which is what I teach, and or a faith-based organization like a 508c1a ministry, which again, I teach everyone all of the technologies available. So we have like a massive toolkit, Swiss Army knife, big tackle box, so you guys can go out there and fish, right? I'm not in the business of spoon feeding or giving people fish. I teach people how to fish. Okay, so you can get fish for the rest of your life. You can stay free for the rest of your life. You can protect your sweat equity for the rest of your life. And yes, you can even apply this to your children if you have children, and control their straw men as well. Hence, just token pieces of the Monopoly board game as well, up until they get educated when they're old enough and they step into wanting to take control of themselves, like you have, like I have, and all these members have as well. Okay, so all of these documents are shared, guys, over on my website. Here's a list of all the Unidroit members in green, so it's pretty much most of the world. Okay, even China and Russia, and the the Unidroit is located in Rome, okay, which is very close to the Vatican. So all roads still lead back to Rome. They own the copyright to the UCC, which is privately being administered, but disguised as statutory jurisdiction in all of these countries. Okay, notice actually not New Zealand, that's quite interesting, but all of the major countries, right? G20 on there pretty much. Okay, so I hope that gives you an invitation to treat. Head over to my website, and like I said, there's plenty of support for those folks who want to be the change you wish to see, step back into their power, and go back to school and re-educate yourselves in order to start applying these technologies and freeing up your life and being in control. And talking from first-hand experiences, it is very empowering. However, you will be tested, okay, because it is like a trial and tribulation period that you will be tested. But as you go through it, these tests will only end up gleaning you more wisdom, because whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger and wiser. And so there will be a certain barrier of entry for every individual based on their situation in order to push beyond. So they know, the system knows now that within the hologram, okay, of your holographic projected arena, of your life experience down here, you have embodied and truly know how to be sovereign when it comes to managing your own estate and your own affairs and administering all that. Okay, and so it's kind of like a self-graduation process that the system will change. The hologram will start shifting for you once you get over that line. Okay, and that can only happen through hard work, studying, and embodying it. Okay, letting your behaviors match your assertion and have substance over forms and not be a copy and paste sovereign. All right, folks, so thanks for listening. I know this has gone over time a little bit, but I hope that gives you invitation to treat. Head over to my website. Obviously, if you've got any more questions, Danny's going through this course as well. You'll be part of the community. You can come in, join the Telegram group. The link for that is beneath every video over at the dashboard as well. And you can help become the change you wish to see and free yourselves up a little bit and be a power piece on this Monopoly board game and help change the system for the better as peaceable, honorable, intelligent individuals who are decentralizing this whole power structure back to the hands of the people, for the people, and with the people. And inevitably, we'll have enough power then to start negotiating our terms and putting court cases together to go after suing the Crown, which is what I attempted last year, which I've still got in the mix, to go after again with the banking fraud, the legal fraud, the educational fraud, all of the fraud that's going on as upstanding, intelligent, sui juris, so-called citizens. Okay, so thanks for listening, guys, and I look forward to seeing you and connecting with you over on my platform. All right, until then, stay blessed and all the best. Ciao for now.
Well, there you go. Is everyone still with me? I mean, listen, look, it's heady, isn't it? You know, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, it's it's a lot of information, and it's like hearing that. Like, I mean, Alex he's a wonderful speaker and a wonderful communicator, and the way that his course is designed as well, it really does represent that the entire way through. Like, I don't think there's any one part of it that you will not be able to answer while doing the course. You know, you'll be able to always find some kind of help or support within the body of the course. And if not, then like he said, there's other avenues in a Telegram group. And also you can reach him on email. I think he also said as well that every sort of 2 or 3 months he does a live session for all of the people in the course, and you can sort of ask real time questions if you're struggling with something in particular. But this is where it brings us into it, right? Is because like I need to do this myself. Yeah, like I've had this. I think I signed up for this course 2 years ago, maybe even longer, and it's just been over there in the corner. Like I do a bit and then I come off and do a bit, and I thought, do you know what? I need to get into this, but I also would like to get into it with everyone, right? I think that we can probably support each other. And you know, one of the things about myself is that I feel I'm very, very a good translator of a lot of very maybe intellectual stuff, and I'm able to maybe make it a little bit more common or a little bit more logical to people like myself, right? So yeah, I suppose the thing is, it's I guess how much do you want to be able to reclaim the true power that is being robbed from us? That's the question. And if the answer to that is yeah, I really want to do that, then sign up for the course. And then I think what we'll do is intermittently, like over weeks, we'll just come back and we'll do another session dedicated to it, or we'll do a little bit of a catch up at the end of a MYGA session to find out where everyone is and to see how we can support each other. Like I'm pretty sure, not just from speaking to Alex, but also, you know, Jacqueline, and many other people I know have gone through this course. They are able to dictate a lot of the way that they wish to be treated in certain social arenas, whether that be airports, whether that be dealing with the filth. That's the police for anyone who's not from London. And, you know, any other sort of situations we find ourselves in, debt collectors, mortgages, like like I said it yesterday in a video, right? The whole fucking thing's rigged. The whole system is rigged against us. It's all a scam. And so this is one of the ways for us to be able to disentangle ourselves from that. So to me, that's really, really exciting and also terrifying. You know, like I'm going to be honest. Like some of the conversation, some of the dialogue that Alex shares, I'm a little bit like, fucking hell, can I do this? You know, like, is my brain worthy of this? But like he said at the end of the presentation, I believe that's something we all need to overcome. Right? And I know to each person is going to be, we're all going to uncover different blockages along the way, different barriers. But I feel if we just really double down on, like, do you know what, I'm going to see this through, whatever it takes, then I think all of us can do that. All of us, we're all highly intelligent, resonant beings, sentient beings, you know? So I think with that in mind, there's not anyone here who's not able to do that. And look, like, again, like, I'm not getting anything out of this, right? But my own selfish My own selfish thing is that I know that the more people feel empowered, the more people are able to reclaim the part that is being used against them in this system of enslavement. Then there's change, isn't there? If all of a sudden there's like 50 people on this call, if all of a sudden all of us go through this, and then in our little worlds we're going, hold on a fucking minute, mate, I'm the governor. In our own little worlds, that is having a ripple effect. Absolutely. And that can't be mistaken. So what I would say is that if you fancy it, sign up to it. All of the details are there. If anyone hasn't got the details, then you can reach out to us. But again, I'll repost on Telegram. I think one of the team has just chucked it back into the. Yeah, it's there in the chat. You can save the chat as well, people. You can save this chat. Yeah, and then the idea, right, is that we come back here and we can support each other with it. You know, even if it means you just come up here and just go, you know what, fuck me, this Sovereignty Masterclass, mate. And we can go, all right, let's unpack that a little bit. Let's see if we can help you with that. Let's see if we're all going through a similar thing. So look, I'm personally very excited, also a little bit terrified, like I said. But I feel like anytime we get that feeling of discomfort, that's a really, really positive sign that we're pushing through something. You know, when all of that fear starts coming up and all of that doubt and all of that low self-esteem, I can't do this. That's a really, really strong indicator that we're just about to break out of another fucking layer of enslavement. So I would just say stick with it, all right? And if it gets so hard that you can't do it, then come here and say that. Because by saying it to the community, to our little network of empowered people, we're all going to G you up and we're all going to go, come on, you can fucking do this. And like, what are you struggling with? Let's maybe have a little breakout space where we can do a little bit of help together. So I feel like there's enough evidence that I've had for the people I know around me. You know, I know Alex well enough to know like the stuff that he says that comes out of his mouth is accurate and it's true. And he is a living experience of this process that has given him another level of empowerment that I can't wait to access. And as well, like, you know, like there's many people on here who are familiar with Jacqueline, Oracle Girl. If she's saying it's something that she's gone through this process, she's done the same thing. She shared a lot of her experiences, hasn't she, when she's been at airports and stuff, and she's gone, no, I'm not doing that, and she's gone through the same stuff. So they're, you know, I think it's also Tia and Jason. Is everyone familiar with Tia and Jason? They've got a podcast called Mighty Networks or something, maybe. Maybe I got that wrong. No, it's not. Someone might put it in the chat. But Tia and Jason, they've got their own podcast. What's it called? I can't remember it now. It's gone off the top of my head. But they had an experience where, yeah, they diplomatic traveled to US. That's Alex's story. But Tia and Jason managed to go to Peru. Yeah, it's Something Health, Annie. You're right. It is Something Health. It's like Inspire Health. That's it, isn't it? And they managed to take their entire family to somewhere in South America, and none of them had to go through any of the shit. And like, as far as I'm aware, I didn't listen to their call, but I know my other half, Hannah, did, and she said like it weren't easy. Do you know what I mean? Like we're doing something. We're going against the complete and utter system, the incomplete and utter grain of the system. And right now, you might think, "Fuck me, I haven't got the confidence to do that." But throughout the course, through coming back to places like this, we're all going to start to get a little bit stronger, aren't we? We're all going to be able to get a little bit more assertive, a little bit more self-governing, a little bit more self-determining. You know, that's what happens. Thank you, Hannah. I'll see you there, darling. So, like, based on that, what we've been talking about, like, we've got another half hour or so. Does anyone want to come up and have a conversation about that? Does anyone have any questions they want to ask me? I don't pretend to be anyone who's got any, knowledge about this other than a very novice. at the moment. But if there's any questions you might like, maybe they're practical questions, or I don't know, feel free to put your hand up. If not, then as you know, I can continue to talk until the cows come home. So, like, again, look, one thing I would say as well, right, is that there are many other courses out there, and you might be familiar with other people, and that's cool. All right, that's cool. But in my own experience, in my own research, there's not someone who has managed to be able to go to the depths that Alex has, and then deliver it back in such a coherent way that has got these very, very practical steps that take you through this process. You know, and like I say, like it used to be a course that wasn't cheap. And I would imagine that would make it exclusive to many people if it was 2,000. But because Alex, you know, he's again, you know what I mean, what a dude. He just wants to fucking help people. This is years and years and years of studying that he's been doing, and now he's giving it away for next to nothing. And I mean, this guy lives this, right? I'd done a video call with him a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. And I mean, he's like, you can see that behind me, there's just, you know, a bit of stuff that I've put up just to make my space look a little bit more appealing and a little bit more warm and a bit more textured, darling. But Alex has just got fucking white balls behind him with like stuff everywhere, you know, like really, really, this is someone who lives and breathes this process. So I feel very confident, and I'm not someone who goes out their way to endorse many people, but I do feel very, very confident in endorsing Alex, because I know that he's someone who really, really hopes and has faith that people are going to change their lives through this process. So, yeah, I mean, why not is what I would say, you know. And he's got a hand up. Let's bring Annie into the mix.
Hey.
Christoph's got his hand up. Hold on a minute.
Oh, well, I'll be really quick.
No. I was just, because he's one of our team. I feel like he's taking the piss, isn't he?
Oh.
He hasn't even got his camera on tonight. Must be hiding. Hello, Annie, darling.
Hey.
How are you, sweetheart?
Excited, shaky. But I feel I just really wanted someone to react to that vocally and say that it feels like it does look overwhelming. And what I only was able to pick up some of what he was saying, although I've heard other people say some of that stuff. Mm. I would like to do it. I mean, I say that with some fear, and like, I feel that it, even just taking one 2-hour thing on this, something similar, I felt something change in me. It was pretty profound, actually, and I hadn't done anything yet, except for realize that I'm free already. And then all this other stuff is just an add-on to that almost. So somebody suggested a study group, and I feel like I would really benefit from that, because it does look very daunting.
Like I would be happy to create the facility for that. I don't know if I would be able to commit any time, because I'm already spinning enough plates as it is.
Oh yeah. No, however, it could be some bust, right?
Yeah, however, we would be happy to create the facility for that. You know, you could use our Zoom, and we could advertise it or connect it, you know, with people. Absolutely. I think that's a very, very beautiful idea, because there's probably lots of people would benefit from that. And then what a lovely thing, right? Like, everyone's like getting cracking on together, doing something practical, instead of sitting there going like, do you think Joe Biden was a robot? Is Michelle Obama, is she a man? It's like, fuck, who cares anymore? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, this is to me, this is where our energy is best focused now, is like, how do we empower ourselves?
Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you. Andy, can I just say as well, I don't want to embarrass you, but we received a donation from you yesterday. Thank you very, very much. I'm truly, truly grateful for that. Thank you, darling. Swiss, can you bring yourself up here, please?
God, got to do everything myself, it seems.
What, you got a question or what? What's going on?
Oh, I got a question for you, Danny. I want to know. No, I was going to share something. I don't know if there's people from the US here. And I mean, I know like you and I have had conversation about this whole law thing. And yeah, like it's definitely sort of like a daunting thing at the beginning. To dive into just requires quite a bit of time and study and understanding and all that. So that's definitely true. Now, for the US, though, in terms of income tax, there is ways with which you basically just petition Congress and you look through the law and you can find it's a lot more simple in terms of income tax in the US. So I don't know if there's anybody from the US, maybe just like post something in the chat. I don't know. But if you're interested, just let me know. I can also post a link. I'm with a group that you basically just understand and read through the writings and you read through the IRS code and you understand that, this doesn't apply to me. So the income tax only applies to very, very few people in the US. Most people, it just simply doesn't apply. And if you state that and you say, basically petition Congress and you say, look, this is what this is what I have found, I'm still willing to pay. However, if this is true what I found in your legal writings, then this doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply to me, and it's actually fraud, and I'm not paying. Right? So you basically, again, like it's sort of like conditional acceptance. It's sort of the same idea where you say like, no, I'm not paying, but here's what I found. So it clearly...
Do you still want me to pay based on this? Do you still want me to pay?
Well, of course they would say yes, but basically you say like, look, clearly it doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
So that's just... to me, that is a little bit like a smaller hurdle to get to. And also it has direct, like really big impact. Like we haven't paid for the last 2 years. And of course, if you keep, 30 to 40% of your income during the year, like that makes a huge difference. So that's,
and I mean, and as well, when you look at it, like what is that fucking money being used for as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. On top of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, you still pay taxes, of course. I mean, you have sales tax, you have, you have inheritance tax, you have, gas tax, state tax, like all those things you still pay, but income tax in the US is really, it's the biggest chunk, which is sort of like what, taxes, like what was meant by that. So that can be a great help for a lot of people, even for business owners.
Nice.
So if you're interested, just let me know or drop me an email on, I'll put it in the chat so you can just, if you're in the US and you want to know more. Nice one, Swiss. Just drop me an email. All right. Well, good to see you. Thank you, brother. Nice to see you too. Rosie, you said that you do you want me to bring you up here? You said you can't put your hand up, but I can just bring you up.
Yeah, sorry, I can't. I don't know why I'm an idiot. It was just a random thought. Well, it's not random because I want to do this totally. I wanted to do something
by accident. Sorry.
Can you hear me or not?
I can hear you. Yeah, but I'm just something's gone wrong here. I don't know what. Swiss, help me out. There's Rosie. Look, Rosie's right there. Why did that happen?
No, she was. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, hi.
Hello, Rosie.
Hello, hi. So, I am totally up for doing this. I've wanted to do it for a long time. I'm long done with asking permission or questions to do anything from anyone. Way past that. I'm not particularly trying to get away from anything. I haven't particularly got any debt or anything like that. It's just it's a more F off kind of thing. But my question is, and it's just a general throw it out to the room question, is I just got this idea that because this is all based on maritime law and we're moving it's a bit of a woo-woo question really, because we're astrologically going from water, the age of the water into air, but we're in the the era of the fire horse. And everything's going digital and everything's going online and obviously the world's going to shit. Is it possible that they could change the whole platform of how this world exists, and all of that becomes totally irrelevant.
Do you know what I would say personally that it's too complicated.
Okay.
And I would also say that there's probably they're sort of resting on their laurels in arrogance that not enough people are going to know about this.
Yeah.
And then so imagine like what percentage of the world are actually aware of this now is so small, right? And then like they take that small percentage of people who are aware of it, and how many of them are actually going to see it through?
Yeah.
So the percentage to me would be like they're just not even they wouldn't even be bothered about it. Personally, my opinion.
I suppose the system just serves them so well they're not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And do you know what you said about like it being woo woo? Is that like actually Alex based a hell of a lot of his studies on like astrology, a hell of a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
And
you can't really ignore it right now.
I've come across, lots of stuff when you have people in the markets and in crypto and stuff. There's a saying that goes around saying like the millionaires read charts, billionaires read the stars.
Yeah. So true.
That's so true. I think there's a lot more going on than we're aware of, and how that's being used by the power players in our reality.
Yeah. What I guess I'm trying to wonder is it worth? Because I'm so like because I know it take a lot of my time, a lot of my energy, and it's almost like I'm giving all that energy to fighting a system that, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a part of anyway. To a certain degree, does that make sense? And is that energy well spent? Is my energy better off spent just literally doing what I'm doing, which is getting as far away from the nonsense as I can?
I'll give you an example. Are you familiar with Jacqueline, Oracle Girl?
Yeah
you are.
Yeah.
Right, so I had a conversation with her a bit of back and forth a few weeks ago, and just by text message, and she was saying like, how did you get on with Alex's course? And I was like, well, I haven't really got around to it yet. And she was like, you need to do it. And I was like, well, why? And she's like, if every time they're going to push a little bit further, it's just going to allow you not to be able to be enforced, basically, is what she said.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, yeah, look, we're actively, as most people are aware, like we live off grid. Yeah, so we're already sort of positioned ourselves in a way that we think's good to a certain degree. We're now actively trying to grow our own food and make ourselves self-sufficient completely. However, this to me is up there on the same level of importance, because if then the legislation changes or they start trying to have even more overreach in our lives, then I feel like this is the answer, right? So, well, that doesn't apply to me, Sorry, but that doesn't apply to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's valid and correct. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm totally up for it.
Good.
But like, I will have questions. I'm one of those people that wants to know the ins and outs of absolutely everything.
Oh my God, you sound like Hannah.
I can't help it.
My God. Like Hannah's like, she follows me around with a fucking magnifying glass on my mind. And I'm like, leave me alone, woman.
Then I can make an informed decision. And then I know, because I have to like 100,000 billion% know what I'm standing in. And then I go, okay. And I might not have needed 90% of that information, but I need to know the whole.
Yeah, it's the same as that.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite, where I just get a feeling and I go, yep, that's for me.
Yeah, I follow my gut as well. But yeah, I know it'll become, like, I know it will take a lot of me, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly.
Well, I mean, look, what a wonderful opportunity. If it happens, is that a study group is like a perfect place for that to happen, right? Like all of these.
Honestly, this is ideal.
Yeah,
this is ideal. Because I've looked and dipped in and bought books and like I've looked all over at this for years, and I've never really. I just found holes or not quite felt the right energy about it or someone, but this just, I'm like, yep. So it's good. Thank you. I just wanted to ask that one question to,
Thank you for asking the question, Rosie.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you, darling. even though if it is through these fucking machines for now.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like them. I'm trying to get used to it. Thank you.
No worries. Swiss, do you want to ask another question? Are you taking the piss? Seriously? This is not truth works,
I'm just on a roll here. Well, I want to add to what Rose is saying, and also like one or two people ask in the chat. And I think like a really important aspect, and Alex was mentioning that as well. It's not only copy paste if the internal sort of our internal world doesn't reflect that. And I think that's super important as we're going through these things. There is an internal shift that's happening as well, where we're starting to realize like who we are, like at our core, and that no one's above us. And I think if we acting and if we're sort of filling in those forms or courses, I think it's a nice way of now sort of like also stepping more and more into our sovereignty, like just internally. And I think that's one of the most important things, because if we're still coming from the place of like, well, they sort of have power over me, I'm going to fight against it. I think that's sort of like fundamentally the wrong energy to have, because like what you're saying is like, no, I'm staying here, I'm standing here. And I'm in a place of neutrality. I'm not fighting. I'm not pushing against. It's more like, no, this is just who I am, and this is what I am. And then as a result, like I'm having a very different type of sort of interactive form or interactive energy, and the way that I speak is different. Because if I'm coming from like a fist and so like, oh, like you guys, then it's just not gonna work on an energetic level. That's very much what I think, and that's what I think Rosie was like saying, like, do I just do my thing, right, and not even worry about it, and just sort of disengage with it. And I think yes, to like a large degree, and also knowing what to do if they sort of aggressively pursue or trying to push you into something that you just know is not for you, and to then come from the place of neutrality and stating that, no, this is not for me, I'm just not doing it. And that's the same with, for example, with the income tax here. I'm just saying, look, like this is what I see. This is your own laws. I'm just stating what I see, and I'm just being just acting on your laws. And that's the same here. It's just a bit more convoluted, a bit more complicated, but it's the same thing because the law is there.
Mate, perfect point. Really. Thank you for coming up again. No, it really is. Like, that is a really, really important point, right? Because that is part of the process, isn't it? You know? And look, one of the things is that I find a lot of the time is when I have this feeling, right, of like, oh my God, this is too difficult for me. I try personally just to see it, like to go back and just see it all as a game and just see it as a bit of fun. All right. And once I do that, then all of the heaviness and, oh man, I have to get this right, it seems to drop away. And I feel like I'm actually much better at focusing and attending to things then. And I show up even greater because I'm not taking it all too seriously. It's not got this heaviness about it. You know?
Well, and that's why, right, just to toot our own horn here a little bit, but I think that's why that's why we're doing such things as MYGA. That's why we're doing such things as TruthWorks, because like our own internal narrative now decides whether I'm in a place of victim and blame, or whether I can take responsibility and I take ownership of my own stuff. And I think it just goes hand in hand, because if I'm walking around in the world like, oh, they know better and they're sort of on a pedestal and I'm down here, just through my own perceptions, like that'll just translate into all sort of these interactions as well, like when it comes to law. And I think it's such a nice sort of symbiotic relationship between those two things, your inner and the outer. And like you start shifting the inner, like the outer will have to shift as well. And I think I remember it was about, I would say like it's almost like 8 or 9 years ago that I for the first time heard about this through Cal Washington. I'm not sure if maybe some of you have right. Yeah. So he had the Empower movement that sort of really was, and he was in prison and like just like all those things. And one of the things that just really stuck out to me then for some reason really was that it's an internal shift that happens, and then the external will follow, and like the external then becomes the sort of law thing that you can now apply because of the inner shift. And that's why I think like what we're offering, or some of the things that we're offering, is very much the internal work, you know, for us to become empowered.
There's such a synergy.
It's so like, it's I mean, really
like,
nice.
It's almost like it's like every time you uncover something else within, is that like there's something changes outside, and then it goes back, and it's like it's always converging into this higher version of yourself. Yeah, and that's why like one of the things is that like we really want to invite people to take a real deep dive into self-inquiry and stuff that's really bothering them and has been perhaps shackling them to the past and holding them back. but we also want this space to be able to like let's all get together and how can we create positive, practical fucking action to make ourselves more empowered and more informed.
Correct.
Once you hit those two things at the same, like that's it, mate. We're becoming the complete multi-dimensional part of ourselves then.
Yeah, I agree. And I really think it can go, it's sort of, it's like a ping pong. It kind of goes back and forth. And as you're sort of, say like, you're filling out like some forms and you're like, okay, like, well, what happens now? There's a bit of an uncomfortableness sort of out of your comfort zone. And then like your stuff comes up, right? Your perceptions, your beliefs about, yourself or others. And then sort of you can go back into okay, like what do I need to fix now? Like not to fix, but what do I need to like release and let go of my internal? And then it's sort of like, it just kind of goes back and forth, which is super nice. Yeah.
And that's
Anyways.
what, Alex was alluding to that as well, right? Is that like, that's what's going to come up. We are going to be hitting stuff where it makes us feel like this is too much for my brain. I can't do this. I can't understand this. And that's the thing is that maybe on your own, it might feel like that. And I feel like that as well, right? About things. But like, I feel that if we collectively come together on something like this and we all support each other, that dog needs to shut up. Is that your dog again, isn't it? If we can collectively support one another in like breakout groups and study groups and stuff like that, like it all starts to become a lot more accessible to us, doesn't it? Instead of it being like this big, like, oh my God, like the words that you're talking about, I don't even know what half of that fucking, it sounds like Japanese. But like if we're able to all break it down together, then I feel there's a lot more of a chance of it becoming something that is not such a big monster, and it's something we can slowly through this process. Like I always use this analogy, and I know it's like very fucking obvious, right? But I use this analogy for every single aspect of my life, right? Is whenever something's massive, like I look at my project, right? Our project is so ambitious. Of course, like only the very infant parts of it are on show to the world now, but we've got massive, massive ambitious plans. And I look at it like it's fucking Everest, right? And if I look at it like that, I'm like, how the fuck am I ever going to get up there? But it's just one step, isn't it? It's just one foot in front of the other all the time. And so we just plod our way through it. And before we know it, we look back in a year's time and go, fuck me, I passed that. I got through that Sovereignty Masterclass. I'm a different being that started that to who I am today. And that's all we can hope for. That's all this life experience is, So I'm glad you're all in, coming along for the journey with us. Swiss, are you done, mate? Because there's someone's got their hand up. Are you done? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see you, though. Normally it's only Thursday nights we see each other. Hello, Susan.
Hello, Danny.
How are you, darling?
I'm pretty fine, thank you. Yeah. So a quick notification from the Netherlands and Belgium. I didn't follow the thing with Alexander. Is his name, because I was a little bit late because I was working and I couldn't get in the space until he was done. But in the Netherlands there is a community. It's called Semblia, and they are. Do you know it?
No, I don't, but I do. I have spoken to a few people from the Netherlands. I know it's quite a big movement out there.
Yeah, they are building a country without land.
Oh yeah.
And when we have 501 human beings in there, people who did their live claim and sent all the papers to the governments and the corporations, we can really make not a fist, but we can really make a change or a difference. So I wanted to say that to the people. There are so many people here who want to help the people in Germany, or in the Netherlands and in Belgium to create this live claim and everything what comes with it. So I wanted to say that to, I don't know if there are Dutch people in the group today or Belgian people, but I just wanted to say to them that it's a great community, and it's a lot of work. I am starting myself now. I did the first 2 steps. Now I'm going to do step 3 and 4, and then I'm going to claim my house and vacate on my birth certificate, claiming my names. But it's a pretty heavy process. It's really a process, and I get in it, and then I step back, and then come in again, and then step back again, and then I decided to just do it, and I will, see where I'm landing.
Okay.
So that's what I would like
thanks
to
for
say.
sharing that. Yeah, I know there's definitely people who are Dutch and Belgian in our community who'll be watching this probably on catch up. And also there is in Alex's group, I'd be absolutely certain there is also people from every different country you can imagine. In fact, there's someone in who keeps on throwing up emojis called Alex, right? Is that Alex George Middleditch? I don't know. His camera's off. He might even be here amongst us, hiding away.
No, it's from a woman. She's called.
Oh, right. Okay.
Karen Zondag.
Okay. All right.
She's a really great speaker, great woman, and she has these people around her who are also looking into it from a law perspective.
I understand, yeah.
Yeah, with this special language and everything I don't know.
Well, you will know Susan. Don't worry.
Yeah, but I don't have to know everything. It's not my path to know all the law language. I just do the things I can, and that's enough for the moment.
Amen.
I will put the name in the chat.
Thank you, Susan.
Maybe there is somebody who resonates with it, and then you can have a look.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's got to that time again, people, isn't it? You know, it's now an hour and a half we've been here, which is kind of when I like to wrap it up. I'm just gonna, do you know what? I've just seen a little interesting conversation going on in the chat with Tracy. You know what? I wondered that as well, right? Like, is this birth certificate? Is it the contract? Is it sort of like a recycled contract that keeps us in this reincarnation as well, right? So maybe there's on a spiritual level as well, because everything's like interrelated, isn't it? Right? It's not like we're just doing this physically, like it's all interrelated. Like we're doing this emotionally, we're doing it mentally, we're doing it spiritually. It's all like we're literally on all of these fronts, we're getting stronger and we're getting more embodied, really, is what it is. And so I wondered that as well. And I would imagine on some kind of energetic spiritual level, we are stepping in to more of that multi-dimensional part of ourselves. And I mean, I've got to say, I'm really fucking excited about it. I'm very excited about the study group as well, right? I don't know why, because I've been putting my head back in the books recently because I'm learning Dutch, which is great fucking fun. But yeah, there's something, forget about the Dutch, because that's really quite a challenge. And it's also very fun because I enjoy having my children take the piss out of me because I can't speak their language. But just the process of learning again is evoking a lot of vitality in me. You know, it's bringing up this stuff that I'm sort of hands-on action. I'm using my brain, you know, and one of the things is that we can all find the time. You know, I know that like we've all got different lives and we've all got different commitments. We're all very busy. I understand that. But we can find the time for something like this. We can. You know, even if it means that we have to get up a little bit earlier, or we have to, you know, put a few things on hold somewhere. Like what's the priorities? You know, to me, this is up there. This is really up there. So look, like I said, I don't know when. Like I'm not gonna turn this MYGA space into a Sovereignty Masterclass, because I feel like there's loads of other avenues that this space is going to take us, and they're all equally valuable. Like for example, next week is going to be one on health, and we're going to be talking about Andreas Moritz's liver flush. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that is incredibly important as well. So all I can say is, like, we're doing our best to offer as much as we can to create people who are to help people become empowered. Yeah, we're not doing anything really. You know, we're just the messengers. You have to do all the work. Like, we can't do anything for you. But what we will do is we'll continually turn up week after week and remind you about how fucking important you are, how special you are, and how powerful you are. And that's all the stuff that the system has been trying to tell you you are not since the day you are born. And you are. And now it's time to fucking remember. All right? So on that note, thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you next week on MYGA. Much love.